about the spine, the vertebrae and the disc and the nerves and the joints and so forth. Hi, I am Deepti Patel. I'm a chronic pain holistic coach, also known as Smart Functional Fitness in the online world. I know this questions comes a lot, and I really want you to get into a deeper understanding of what spine looks like, just feel a little bit of nitty-gritty, and that way you understand how to do your exercises properly. All right? So we have about 32 vertebrae in the spine. 7 vertebrae for a cervical spine, and that makes your neck. The 12 vertebrae is in your thoracic spine. We have 12 ribs and the 12 thoracic vertebrae, and that makes your thorax. We have 5 vertebrae in the lumbar spine, in the lower back. So 5 vertebrae there. The sacrum has about 5 vertebrae, and that's right here, and they're all fused. Then we have a coccyx, has about 3 vertebrae, and they are tailbone, and that's a deep, all the way deeper into the end of the spine. It's a tailbone, right? Now, you don't have to, 8 vertebrae on the bottom, they don't move. So leave them alone, there is no mobility happens there. But this other 24 vertebrae has to move. Each vertebra makes 2 joints with the vertebra above and a vertebra below. And every single vertebra should move. I come across many times, and out of 24, only 10 or 12 vertebrae are moving. Other vertebrae are just not playing a role. So here's an example. If you have a company and you have a 24 employees, and only 10 to 12 employees does all the work, you're not going to generate enough revenues, right? And those employees who are working hard going to have wear out really fast. They're going to be tired and fatigued and stressed. But what if every single employee plays a role and they do their parts? You're going to be able to generate more revenues. And here, if every vertebra moves, you're going to be able to move more fluidly without any restrictions. So that's what that's what I really want to, I will have some few exercises to teach you how to move those vertebrae one by one. But just hang in there with me for now. I want to show you a few other things. The joints in the vertebrae are in the back of the spine, okay? In the back. This is the front part, and the joints are in the back part. The disc is in the middle between each vertebrae. The role of the disc is to give a cushion. The disc is made up of 80% of water, okay? So, and it also takes some compressive forces. So at the end of the day, it does compress and shrinks down a little bit. When you rest, next morning, it's ready to go. As we age, there is a normal aging process that happens in the disc. Disc wears out, and that's completely normal. It's called degenerative disc disease. Nothing to worry about. This is every single person has it, and it starts as early as age 10. There are several MRIs has done on teenagers, and they show the wear and tear in the disc. So nothing to worry about here. Now, behind the vertebral body and the joints, there is a neural foramina where the nerve comes out, okay? And that's where those nerves will be coming out of the spine and then distribute either in the upper extremity or the lower extremity or your thorax. Make sense? And I know we will talk about what the nerve plays a role and how the compressions of the nerves and stuff in the later videos. But this is the normal anatomy of the spine. Let's understand the anatomy of the lumbar spine, the SI joint, and the hip joint, because this all plays a role in your back pain. All right? We have 5 lumbar vertebrae, and they are big vertebral bodies. As you see, the neck has a tiny vertebral bodies, then they keep getting bigger and bigger. In the lumbar spine, you have 5 lumbar vertebral bodies. Then that attaches to the sacrum, that's made up of 5 vertebrae, but they're all fused, so they don't move. Now the pelvis makes a joint with the sacrum, and that joint right here is called SI joint. Now here is the thing, I know SI joint gets so much blame for causing a pain. but this joint only moves 5 degrees, teeny tiny range. It's usually a stable and a solid joint. This joint only gets affected in three things. One is a pregnant woman, especially in their last trimesters, because pregnancy hormones makes the ligaments loose so pelvis can open up and get ready for that baby to be delivered. The second thing is in accidents. So if you had a dashboard injuries and your knee gets stuck into the hip bone and pushes the sacrum back, that's another way to get the SI joint injured. And the third thing is stepping on a hole. So you're walking in your yard and you don't realize it, and there is a big hole and your foot goes in there. Or you're going down the stairs and you think the stairs are still there, or you feel like the stairs are done and there's still one more step left, and then you go down. That pushes the pelvis up higher and displaces or strains the SI joint. Fourth one, I'm sorry, I forgot about that if it's an IC and you're walking and you slip and land right on your tailbones, and that pushes the sacrum up. Those are the only 4 injuries causes us SI joint injuries. Most of the time, if you don't have history of any of those recently, not like 10 years ago you had that, no, it has to be a recent injury. If not, don't worry too much about your SI joint pain. Let's focus on a hip joint. Now hip joint, this joint moves about 5 degrees. This joint moves in a 6 different directions, more than 130 to 60 to 70 degrees in each directions. So this is the joint needs to move. When this joint doesn't move, then it causes a strain in your lumbar spine. This joint moves front and back, side to side, and in and out. And in my upcoming videos, I'm going to teach you how to improve the hip mobility in all those 6 directions one by one, okay? Once you get your hip moving really well, it's going to decrease so much stress in your lumbar spine. One more thing, the thoracic spine is a neighboring joint of the lumbar spine. And quite a few times we are desk workers, or we spend a lot of time sitting and not moving around. Now because of the phone, we are bent overs and we are curved down like this. That creates the stiffness and tightness into the thoracic spine. Not only that, we have a rib cage that wraps around the thoracic spine and it makes it even more stiffer. And when thoracic spine is not moving well, it puts a strain in the lumbar spine. So the key is to make sure you're moving your hip joint really well and your thoracic spine very well, and then we will look at the lumbar spine next. Most of the time, the lumbar spine lacks the stability and the strength. We need more core strength. So the thoracic and hip moves well, you're going to be able to function so much better, do all kind of activities with the less strain on your lumbar spine. So I really wanted to get deeper into this fundamentals of the spine and the pelvis, so you can help better. One more thing I want to tell you is the pelvis and the sacrum. So the pelvis, along with the hip, has a tilt. The pelvis does an anterior pelvic tilt, so it moves like this forward, and it has a posterior pelvic tilt like this. And it is important to know when to do an anterior pelvic tilt for certain activity, and when to do a posterior pelvic tilt, and when to maintain a neutral pelvis. This is a key in order to perform the activities safely. Especially this is important if you're going for a high level of activities like a gymnast for a side split or a front split, or you want to squat down all the way and you want to do any yoga poses and you're not able to get there. You really want to pay attention to the pelvic tilt, because the way the pelvic is tilted, the hip joint will have a less pinching and it will be able to move more freely without getting jammed into the acetabulum. So that's another key important is. Pelvic tilt, I have made a video on a pelvic tilt starting from laying down, then moving on to more suspended positions, so more hands and knees, and then tall kneeling and sitting and standing, so you really understand how to tilt the pelvis, because a lot of people don't understand how to tilt the pelvis completely anterior or forward and completely backward. So please look at that video, and that will really open up your understanding on the pelvic tilt. I hope this information was helpful to you. If you really love this, please comment, share, or like the video.